G'day all, it's Colin from PCTLC and thanks for joining me. In this video we're going to be looking at and installing MiyoLinux. Can we install MiyoLinux with the size of the ISO and installed applications for 900 megabytes or less? And that's the minimum applications required to do the general things on a desktop on a daily basis. These are the questions and let's check out MiyoLinux. So here we have MiyoLinux. MiyoLinux is a very minimal Linux OS based on Deviant and various window managers. As the latest download is 21st of August 2020. And we have the summary here. Myo is simply an acronym for Make It Your Own, primarily intended for users with older hardware. MiyoLinux is a very minimal and base system that allows users the freedom to add the software and applications that they want or need without having to remove the ones that they don't want. He thanks Mike Smith for all his help, advice, input and testing. Thank you, Mike. Please do not submit MiyoLinux to DistroWatch. MiyoLinux is a personal project. Okay, so let's check out MiyoLinux. So as you can see, MiyoLinux is 707 megabytes in size. So let's start the VM. MiyoLinux live user. So we're going to welcome here and thank you for the interest in MiyoLinux. Live username Myo, live password Myo, live root password is Myo. Okay, this is probably the second distro I've had where full screen has gone and the wallpaper's gone a bit funny. That's fine, it's no problem. So let's install MiyoLinux. So Grub PC is not installed, but you boot it in BIOS mode. If you have the Grub PC dead packages, you will be given a chance to install them. Let's abort that. Let's change the VM to UEFI. So we are now in UEFI mode. Maybe that's why the wallpaper was funny. It wasn't UEFI, I'm not sure. So there's the thank you screen again. I didn't see that because it was only in a small screen. So let's install MiyoLinux. This release of MiyoLinux is based on Deviant, I'm not sure how you say that, unstable, and will provide a rolling release with much newer packages. However, breakage can and will occur if you're not careful. I've given some basic guidelines for maintaining the system in release notes. Please only install the system if you're an experienced user. So there's a warning right there if you're not an experienced user. Okay, so let's install. Yep, let's continue. All right, so we've got a gparted. Need to create a partition first. Create partition table and GPT, apply. That's done. Let's try again. Okay, so there's no EFI partition. You will need to create one or else install the system without a bootloader. Do not format a pre-existing EFI partition. Let's exit that. Let's go to gparted again. $512 megabytes. FAT32. And a new one is ext4 for the rest of it. Oh, actually, no, I didn't do a swap, did I? Let's make that a Linux swap. manage flags on that one, boot ESP. Now let's try again. So use existing swap, use UUID and FS tab, disable automatic login to console, run pre-install scripts, run post-install scripts. Okay, seems normal. Skip this step because I have the partitions ready. Okay, for the installation of the operating system would be, I think it was SDA3, that'll be the one. Yep, SDA2 would have been swap. What type of file system would you like? ext4, yep. SDA2 be swap. Proceed with installation. Perth, English AU, UTF. I'll stick with generic. I'm never really sure what to pick under these circumstances, but I'll go with what default is. Keyboard layout English US, yep. Proceed, yes. Okay, install Bootloader and finish the installation. SDA1 should already be mounted. That's continue. New host name, new username. So host name, Myo VBox. And new user's real name. Permit sudo. Yep, that'll do. Okay, reset the root password. Installation is complete. You may now reboot into the new system. Okay. Shut down. Right, so I think what I did in my first install is I pressed here continue. I'm very sure I did that, and that was wrong because I couldn't boot MiyoLinux. What I should have done here is this is my third install. First one I chose continue. The second one I chose install bootloader, which is what I should have done the first time. So yes, install bootloader, let's do that. And that's where I made the mistake on the first install. I don't know why I pressed continue, I didn't read. I was busy worrying about what I was recording. So let's start MiyoLinux. Now I made one vital error there. I think at the end there I chose continue instead of install grub bootloader because it wasn't booting, so I've had to reinstall it. I wasn't sure what I'd done wrong. I should have recorded that bit. I might have to go back and do that. It doesn't take long to install anyway. And here we are in the desktop of MiyoLinux. And he's got this little menu down here, which if you scroll the mouse wheel, it scrolls the selection box. This is your PC Man FM 1.31. And there is, like he said, there's not many applications in here at all. So you've got Synaptic Package Manager, and you have to double click on the menu here. So once again, we need to install packages from Synaptic Package Manager. Now this menu seems to, anything that's been used recently ends up at the top of the list. So that is MiyoLinux. I've never used that installer before. I made one mistake at the end. I might just record that again and show you what the mistake was. But yeah, the problem here is Nothing wrong with MiyoLinux here. Quite a nice system here. The problem is knowing how much to download and install. So that's the problem. Okay, so you've got this menu here. Scrolling the mouse wheel will move the selection box, or you can just double click what you want to open. Now there's not much to be seen in the menu. Tint 2 settings is probably this panel up here. But if you right click, then you've got some options here. Terminal, run command, got a screenshot, accessories, you've got leaf pad, nitrogen. I'm not sure what nitrogen is. What is that? Oh, that's wallpaper, that's right. So you can use nitrogen to change your wallpaper, like so. Multimedia, Elsa mixer, network. So there's nothing under network. You got your settings there. System, still gparted is installed, post install. Open box settings here. I think you can adjust your menu or update your menu as you install things, I believe. It's been a while since I've used something like this. Compton controls. So not many applications out of the box. He does state that. So if you're willing to use the 700 megabytes ISO and download your own packages, that's also another issue. I think we're trying to find a complete system with the bare necessities to get you started, like internet browser and maybe even an email client and LibreOffice and so forth. So I think we're just looking for those simple things installed out of the box would probably be helpful. But yeah, MiyoLinux, nice little installer, nice little operating system here. Not sure if it fits what we're looking for in this scenario. So I've decided to check out MiyoLinux again before I edit the video and see whether we can manage to install some packages or some applications and still remain within 900 megabytes. So MiyoLinux here, 707.8 megabytes. So I've only got a couple of 100 megabytes to play with. Now this is after my Deviant video and also after Foster Dog, but Serge recommended this command here, which installs minimum apt space dash no dash install dash recommends. So I'm going to try that in here. I'm going to install, what have we got in here? Let's just check out. We've got a leaf pad, so we've got a text editor, that's fine. So we're going to need a video player, a music player, an image viewer, document viewer, and Office Suite. So let's just see what we can do here. Double click, isn't it? So I'm going to try this. First we'll do apt update. Yes, using sudo always helps, doesn't it? So 525 packages can be upgraded. Sudo apt upgrade, let's check that out. We need to fetch 547 megabytes of archives. So that's already thrown us over. So this is where the problem lies with this lightweight distro. So what's interesting about this little journey is the deeper I get into this, the more questions I have, and probably the more I learn about, you know, installing applications in a more effective way as far as the size of the application goes. And that's become very interesting, I must say. Okay, so configuring base password. Update password has found a difference between your system accounts and the current Debian defaults. The proposed change is change the home directory of user IRC from var run IRC to run IRCD. If you allow this change, a backup of modified files will be made with the extension .org, which you can use if necessary to restore the current settings. If you do not make this change now, you can make it later with the update password utility. Let's just do that now. Let's do that. Hope that's the right thing to do. Updates for MiyoLinux are complete. Let's discuss variables a little bit more. And this is not just talking about MiyoLinux. I'm talking about any distro here. If the user is keen on this distro, then they could, but there's too many updates to install. You could probably wait for a more updated and refreshed ISO to download, and that way you don't have as many updates, if any at all. So that's one thing you could do there. So that's a rather big update, so I'm going to reboot the system. Okay, password works, so all's good. I was hoping I didn't have any issues there with the password, so that's all okay. I keep looking for that one down the bottom, and I keep forgetting that these ones, after you've used it, end up the top here. We'll just give htop a quick check. Htop's not installed. Not sure whether I'm typing this command correctly or not, so we're going to try another way. So apt -- fix broken install htop. Yeah, sudo helps, doesn't it? So we've got unmet dependencies for htop. Seems to be a lot of broken dependencies in MiyoLinux. Must be the base that it's based on, I think. Deviant. Maybe it's not on the latest. I'm not sure. So we use free-h. I think there's another one called free-m is there as well. So we're using 149 megabytes for memory. That's pretty good. Let's have a look at the command here, sudo apt, and we've got the -- no install recommends, and I'm going to install VLC, quadlibet, gthumb, evince, and Calligra. That should cover us for most things. Let's just check that out. Invalid operation VLC. Wow. What's that all about? So we try MPV, and I think we also need Firefox as well, don't we? I think we need so Firefox as well. Let's try that. Invalid operation MPV. All right, I'm thinking that the no recommends is messing up everything here, so I'm going to have to maybe give that a miss because everything is not found. So that could be a problem. Okay, the problem is the user. It's the user. I haven't run this command before, so I figured that whatever was, because no install recommends was there, you've got to still have the install command. So I wasn't aware of that. So that's the problem going on there. That's why it kept saying invalid operation, because, yeah, the user is invalid. All right, so let's get back on track here. Let's see what we can do. We've got VLC, quadlibet, gthumb, evince, Calligra, and Firefox. I would have thought those things would be enough for daily use for an average person. Anyway, should be good enough. So let's just check that out and see what we get. This is with the no install recommends. Let's have a look. So we've got 235 megabytes. Now that's interesting. Now what we need to do now, I'm going to hit no on that. I'm not going to install that. Because what I'm interested in seeing, and let's just clear the screen there. Arrow up for the previous commands. Now what I'm interested to see is, let's just take out the no install recommends, because I want to see what the difference is. Okay, let's try that. And we have 316. So 235. So that's about 81 megabytes difference with the no install recommends. So that is pretty good. That's actually quite good. So that command is quite handy, I must say. Let's clear the screen. So once again, we'll go back to our no install recommends. So 316 without it and 235 with it. Now we had about 192 megabytes to play with, so we're almost there, but not quite. The other thing we need to consider is this. We had the updates or the upgrades at 560 odd megabytes. So like I said earlier, you could probably go for a more updated ISO if and when one comes out, if that's possible, if you're keen on this distro. 565 megabytes and also downloading at 700 and whatever it was, just 708 I think it is, or something around there. You're already in strife there when it comes to having everything out of the box under 900 megabytes. Now the question I'm asking is here, whoever requested, and I've got to go back now to see who requested, I can't remember the name, it's been quite a while. Whoever requested the lightweight distros 900 megabytes and less for mobile data, my questions now, is it 900 megabytes per month that you can use, or is it just a distro? Well, I want to know why this person came around to 900 megabytes. And do they have that allowance every month, or they don't have that allowance every month? The questions are coming more and more as I get deep into this lightweight distro challenge. So that was MiyoLinux. It's on the cusp of being almost there, but not quite. However, it was good looking at MiyoLinux and see how it works. It has quite an interesting menu indeed for OpenBox. And I might just install those under the no recommends and just check out the menu and where they're placed in the menu. I don't know if it's alphabetical order or how that works. So I'll do that, we'll come back and then we'll finish off the video. So that's the command there, sudo apt install --no install recommends, and my applications, let's do that. And let's go yes on that one. All right, so we have a small problem here. There's some things not downloading. Recommends to try the fix missing command, which I'm assuming we'll do after this command here, --fix -missing. Let's try that and see how we go. Okay, and that worked. All right, so we're still having problems with some failed to fetch from certain websites, these dependencies by the looks of it. Not sure what that's all about. So what have we got in here? Quadlibet, VLC, gthumb, Firefox, Calligra Sheets, Stage, and Words. And it looks like the document viewer is the one we don't have. So that must be the one that's having a problem, is the document viewer, evince, which has come up here. Try this as an individual, I think. Sudo apt install --fix -missing evince. Let's try that. Has unmet dependencies. Let's just clear the screen and do an apt search for document viewer. Evince unstable now, installed, but it didn't install as far as I know. Let's just check it out. Oh, there it is there, document viewer. Let's open Firefox and download a PDF test document. Let's download that, save file, PDF test. And that seems to be working fine. So a couple little hiccups there with evince, but it seems to have installed okay. So we've got our applications installed for 235 megabytes anyway, but we're over. So it looks like MiyoLinux doesn't quite cut it for the lightweight distro challenge for 900 megabytes or less. Nevertheless, MiyoLinux is quite a nice little operating system, so it's not too bad if you're interested in that. It's got the OpenBox window manager with a custom menu there, which is quite handy. Everything seems to be in alphabetical order, except for about the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe about the first 5. They seem to be the most recently used applications in the first 5 of the list. So that's quite interesting. So MiyoLinux, you may have liked the distro, but as far as having an operating system out of the box or being able to install it and have all your applications under 900 megabytes, no, it doesn't quite fit into this scenario, MiyoLinux. So that was MiyoLinux, part of the Lightweight Distro Challenge for 900 megabytes or less. Hope you enjoyed the video, hope you found it interesting and informative, and thanks for watching.